Alright, so a little video. I've been cleaning up this 1940s Shaffer pen case, and I've got all of this. This is all my ink, all my pens, most of the stuff, pen holders, so I'll leave this to for the future. But what I thought I'd do, kind of fun, is I thought I would just make a little video showing you all the stuff I'm going to put back in here. So let's get right to it. Alright, up first are these Esterbrook pens. What are these? These are Desk Masters. These are, they're brand new, mint in box. They're probably from the 50s or 60s. And I've got a bunch of these, so let's go ahead and start putting these in. I've got some of even these older ones. This one says base only. If we open it up, we can kind of get a peek. It says base only, but basically these sets, or these, that's the pen thing, that's what sits on your desk, and it would come usually with a pen body and a little end piece like this. You'd screw this onto the back. This basically helps balance out the pen, makes it feel more like a feather. And the point on here, the nib, you'll actually screw that in as well. You could choose a bunch of points and it'll just sit in there just like that. And whenever you need to write with it, you just take it out. Simple as that. Here's another one of the Esterbrook's in green. It's a very, very 50s green, you can tell. Okay, here's another one that's in almost perfect condition aside from the tab on the box. So on the front of the box has this little cardboard cutout. This is a display pen. This is cool. Maybe I could show this in a future video, but I'll have you read this little note right here. There you go. And you can pause the video if you want to read all that. But basically this pen comes with, it's one of these lanyard pens. There we go. It stays attached to the base right there. I don't want to take it all out, but it stays attached to the base, and there you have it. Let's put all this back and stick it away in the case. Okay, that's all the Esterbrook desk pen sets. Now we're going to move on to all the ink, and we've got quite a lot of ink to get in here. So before I do anything, I'm going to actually put all of these Waterman ink bottles back into their original cardboard boxes, aside from this one's being used. The reason being is I want them to stay together, and I want them to be in this dark case to kind of help preserve the labeling on here. These are in near perfect condition, and these are quite expensive. These can go for, at the time of this video, somewhere between $50 to $100 per bottle, depending on the color and the condition. And all these bottles I have are filled with ink completely. They're completely full bottles. The ink hasn't evaporated after 70, 80 years. So that's kind of remarkable. So let's go ahead and find the boxes for these. Okay, so I went ahead and found all the boxes. One thing I do with these boxes is whenever I put them away, I don't fold in the tabs unless I know I'm not going to be using them for a while. The reason being is I don't want to have to put any stress on the cardboard fold right here, which is what leads to the tabs ripping over time. So I usually leave them all just kind of like this, so it makes it much easier to put the ink bottle back in the box. Now, because I'm not going to be opening this for a while, or for a long time, I'm going to actually just close it up like it would normally, and we'll set it to the side. I have to say, these are very beautiful bottles, by the way, and the printing on here is just so immaculate. It's just so clean. It's so nice to see such a great example of an original bottle. Nothing on the back, just a nice, beautiful bottle of ink. And I'm going to start just packing all this ink in here as we go. I would like to keep most of the ink together, so like all the Waterman ink will stay at one point. All the Shaffer ink's going to be in another altogether by itself. And all the Parker ink, which I don't have too much of. I think I have a few bottles of it, but not a lot of it. You'll see that a little bit later. I like to keep all that together. Right, we can start seeing it's getting filled up. And these little clear plastic things, I got these at Daiso, by the way. I'm not quite sure what they're meant to be used for. I see there's little tabs on here that are meant to stack, kind of as such. So I guess they could be used for pullouts, but I use them sideways so you could, you know, put stuff in them like and display them. That's kind of what I was using them on the front of the case for. We'll see the front of the case in a little bit, but let's get back to packing this full of ink. Okay, so I believe that is all of the Waterman ink. Now we're going to move on to all of the Shaffer ink, and that's this stuff. And we've got quite a bit of this stuff. We've got probably about 24 bottles. And most of them, at least half of them, are the Peacock Blue. This is a very beautiful color that they don't make anymore. And I got an entire case of it, plus more of it, at a really huge find earlier last year. Or later last year, I should say, right before the pandemic hit. So I think I've only been using one bottle for this entire year. But yeah, so this stuff should last me for quite a while. Yeah, so let's get to it. But okay, so that's all the Peacock Blue. Let's move on to the big bottles, the big 54 bottles. And I've got about half a dozen of these as well. These are this is really good ink. This is the permanent royal blue. I've got the royal blue and the washable blue in this color. So let's get to it. Actually, while I have this these bottles out, I might as well show you some of the different designs on the boxes. Let me pull this one back out. You can see this is the Shaffer Triumph nib being displayed on the lid right there. This is a perfect box. This has never been opened. And here's probably an older box right next to it. You can see some of the differences there. If I turn it to the side, you can just see the registered trademark, of course. That's one of the big differences. But aside from that, it's pretty much all the same. If I carefully turn it upside down, I don't like turning old bottles upside down for too long, but there you go. If you want to pause the video and read that, there you have it. But yeah, let's get back to that. And count them, there's 6. There's 6 of those bottles. These are big bottles. These are, I want to say these are the 4 or 6 ounce bottles. They're the big bottles, because these are 2 ounce bottles. So those would have to be probably at least 4 ounces, the big ones over there. But we're not done yet. We still have a few more bottles to go. We have more Peacock Blue. This is an older bottle. Again, here's the new bottle. Here's the old bottle. Obviously a very stark contrast. If I had to guess, this is probably made in the 70s, late 60s, early 70s, and this was made probably, I want to say, oh well, I don't know, maybe in the same time, maybe 50s, if I had to guess. There you go. Nothing on the bottom. But there you have it. So we're going to, because you're the same ink, we're going to scan it, put you right there. So that about does it for ink, but we do have some extras here. We have this bottle of stamp pad ink, which was donated to me a while back. And there's about 16 bottles. No, there are 16 bottles. There's 12 right there, but this is from like the 70s, 80s. It's, you know, nothing too special, just stamp pad ink. And it's still good. I mean, it's still good. But I like to keep it in this box. Again, I'm probably just going to put it down there. That's probably a good place for it. Here's a stray Parker Quink Ink. This is one of the 2 Parker Quink bottles, the vintage ones I have. It says it contains Solv X. I have to still read up on what Solvex is. It apparently cleans out the pen as you write with it. But got this a few years ago. Writes really good. Really good writing ink. But again, I haven't written with this in years, this bottle, so I'm just going to leave it. And as you can see, it's in a very, well, it's in a diamond shape. It's kind of annoying to try to fit in. So, put it right there. Okay, and these are kind of cute. So I have also these Sanford ink bottles. They're these tiny little ink bottles. They're the Pennant Inks. I believe these are blue-black, so that means they're probably iron gall inks. And these are probably, this is very old ink, but it's kind of cool. You can see it says Sanford's right there. It's textured, by the way. It feels very nice. These are really well made. And Sanford's Pennant Blue Black. Fountain pen ink. This is terrible writing ink, by the way. It's really not fun to write with. It's very chalky, and it writes very dry, so I don't really like it too much. But I have, well, how many do I have? 12 of them, so... And then the original bottle, which unfortunately one of them leaked in shipping and damaged the box, so there's not much I can do about that, but I try to keep it in this original box as best I can. Alright, our last Parker ink bottle is this one I got recently. This is Parker Quink. This is the microfilm black. I haven't actually tried it out yet, and it's a full bottle. I think I got it for like $5. It was an absolute steal, especially with the box. That's cheaper than a new bottle of normal ink, like significantly cheaper. So it's permanent, and something interesting on the back of it. It's actually got it in Spanish. Now, apparently this stuff was used for the war. So this is war ink. This is obviously World War II, from what I understand. But you can leave a comment down below if I'm not right about that. Now that concludes all the boxed ink. We still have quite a bit of regular ink that we need to put away. And I think I'm just going to fill in all the nooks and crannies for that. Before we get into that, I do want to put away some of the bigger stuff. So we've got these Eagle pencils. These are very hard. These are terrible, by the way. Here's some Shaffer nib units. These are meant for dealers, and we can maybe check these out in a future video as well. Here's a ton of Esterbrook nib units right here, and Shaffer nib units as well, and just a bunch of little, yeah. So we got some the good ones in green, and the not so good ones in red and silver. All right, so for the pencils, we have film markers. These are film markers made by Dixon, the Ticonderoga company, so you're probably familiar with those. Future video on these, by the way. These were made for writing on x-ray scans. These are Eberhard Faber blue pencils. They're just really not that special. I don't really know too much about them. They're pretty soft and very chalky. Oh, I don't want to say chalky, but they're okay. All right. Here's a set of Daiso pencils that you can pick up at Daiso for about $1.50. And they are made in Japan. You have to really check, but you have to check that they're made in Japan and to be sure that you're getting good quality stuff from Daiso if you live in California or probably on the East Coast. I'm sure there's some Daisos there or even in Texas, but it's kind of a California thing. Daiso, it's a Japanese discount store, and the stuff they have there is amazing. These pencils are okay. Future video on these as well. Of course, I've got one of these. I picked this up probably about 10 years ago. These are the Jehaban glass dip pens I got when I was in college, just a freshman in college, just starting out with fountain pens. I don't use this anymore, so it goes in the case for sure. We've got this Osmeroid calligraphy set, probably from the 80s, actually from 1981. There's a copyright year on there, so very early 80s. Let's see where he fits. Got a music writing set right here, feature video. Bunch of Eversharp top, red top lead. This is the hard, unfortunately the very hard lead. These are 1.1 millimeters, so very thick leads. Yeah, TL hard thin. Yeah, these write very terribly. And now I've got this black box that has very fun, exciting things in it that I'm not going to show you. I'm not going to tell you what it is. I'd like to display it at some point, but unfortunately my case is too small to display it, so we have to put it in the case here. Alright, well that was the back. Let's turn our attention to the front.